You know, why are we, I mean, at this stage of the game, why are we gonna try to hold ourselves to a higher standard? It's bullshit.
I would say it's cleaner than that. We're not disobeying anything. When you have government entities that are operating outside of their constitutional and statutory authority, we're under no legal obligation to obey. That's a fact. And as a matter of fact, it takes people, to use my previous vernacular, with the guts and with the stones to stand up for what's right and say, I don't care that you want to be a bully. I don't care that you think that you can shout loud enough and tell us what to do. You don't have the legal authority to do this, therefore, we will not comply. So when it comes to these kind of things, this item specifically, the government, the governor, the president, they don't have the legal, the statutory, or the constitutional authority to enforce those things. And so we're just standing up for what's right and saying no, because if we don't continue to say no, we will end up like Australia. You know, this is no longer a conspiracy theory. We are watching before our eyes a country that was previously considered to be free and normal like America, where citizens are being, I don't know if you guys are watching, I'm seeing it. They're sending police officers to people's doors based upon what they're posting on Facebook. They're knocking down and beating women in the mall because they don't have a vaccination status that they're supposed to. This is stuff we thought could never happen. It will happen if we don't draw a line in the sand and say no. And that's all it takes most of the time with these guys. Because listen, none of you would support me if I introduced a resolution banning anyone wearing green shirts in White Pine County indefinitely. Why? Because that's outside of my authority. It's outside of our authority. So we have to stop supporting, stop endorsing, stop complying with things that are outside of the authority and purview of these elected officials. And so that's all we're doing here.
But I think it's an individual's prerogative to do as they want, so, and I don't want to force anybody to wear a mask or anything else like that. What we have here in front of us is for this commission to make it a choice for the entire citizenry of White Pine County, that these are the rules we passed, or these are the ones you go by. If you want,
Richard, this is for county employees.
Yeah.
This is, so
well,
this
still, even county employees,
And
when
the
they take it to
decision
them,
to give them freedom.
well,
This
again,
is
it's
to
a
allow
right.
them to make that decision for themselves.
Well, that's a decision up to them, not up to us as the county to say, we're not going to require you to ever put a mask or to vaccine or anything. Well, nobody wants to do that. But for us to make the decision for them, I don't think is correct. I think this is a good item to discuss. Any county employee can look at this and they can abide by it as they choose. But for us to say, okay, this is what we agree to as a 5-member board, so all of you agree to it as well. That's my opinion.
I think you might misunderstand.
Maybe I do, but the
Yeah.
way I'm reading it, that's the
Yeah,
way it
so
is.
let me see if I can explain. What we're saying is we're proposing to amend our personnel policy that says, as an employer, we will never discriminate against you based upon your medical decisions, your private medical decisions. And that's all we're saying.
Yeah.
And by taking that stance, can I tell you, as I'm talking to employees, not just for the county, but for the state, to have an employer that takes a stand like this gives those people a tremendous amount of job security and peace of mind. People are freaking scared right now. They are afraid they're going to lose their job because, listen, some of these people, this is a private medical decision. We can go around and around and around. We can argue about the benefits of the vaccine. If people do not, and there are some people that cannot take it, they are going to lose their jobs if we allow the mandating of people having it in order to keep their jobs.
I disagree, respectfully disagree with that, because I think as part of HIPAA, that I do not think that this needs to be in the,
It's happening at the prison
Policy.
right now. It's happening at the prison right now.
but that's state.
Well, they can require it of us. That's the next thing. They can.
No, we do not, we do not. If we do that resolution, put it in the personnel policy, we don't do that with the flu shot.
We don't
I
require
think
the
that-
flu shot.
Okay, but we don't have to require this either. It does not mean that it's mandated to put it into the personnel,
I think it's just
At
a
least I don't
preemptive,
see it
it's preemptive
that way.
saying that we've just,
because HIPAA protects us from, protects
should.
the employees from
You
doing
just heard
that.
from Scott, HIPAA has gone the hell out the window. If we
But-
don't put this in writing, whatever, who's gonna come on this board, you know, and they're gonna have a different view and try to do it. The employees need this in writing so that when the challenge comes, they have it, here's the personnel policy, here's it in writing, and here's my
It's
case.
preemptive.
That is why,
I
that is
will
why.
ask a question then, so far as OSHA. I have not had a chance to read this in regards to POPAC and what their response is.
That's for a litigation session that is not open to the
Oh.
public.
Okay,
As far
then
as.
can we postpone, because some of that relates,
So you mentioned OSHA, I can answer, and I actually had a discussion about this morning. There is nothing out there right now. All there is the president saying that he's asking OSHA to make a directive. So nothing we do today with regards to these two things apply to, I mean, there is no specific requirement requiring counties or state governments to have these vaccine or testing requirements. We're under no requirement right now. So if that requirement is, this is, as Travis and Ian are saying, this is preemptive, because I believe, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but I believe you're anticipating a requirement coming down. And if a requirement comes down, we can discuss it at that time. But right now, there is nothing to violate, because nothing exists. There's a lot of talk, but when you really look at it, it's all talk right now.
This just gives our employees a peace of mind, regardless, you know, regardless of where, I'm not saying the vaccine's bad or good, that's everyone's own medical decision, and everyone's in a different position in life, so that's not what this is saying. This is just saying that, you know, we're gonna stand for your rights, and not everyone has to go to bed wondering if, you know, next county commission meeting, we're gonna say, get the jab or you're fired. That just gives in my mind, gives everyone.
I don't think we would do that anyhow.
But I think
Well, I'm
that-
gonna move to make a motion, whoever votes is gonna vote, and let's move on.
I think that we should allow anyone else that wants to do a comment before we do that.
Yep.
Because that's the proper way to do things. So we've heard different conversations, and Shane, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I actually agree with this completely, to be honest with you, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I've had the damn thing, but that was my choice, and it's gotta be everybody's choice. It is already bled into our state, or our state government. It is, and I'll guarantee you, the way our state government is operating, trying to keep up with the cool kids and do exactly as being mandated down the line, we are not far from this becoming a mandate from our governor's office. And this, it's a matter of protecting everyone's personal choice to make their own medical decisions, and I agree with it 100%.
And my only thought was, I didn't, and maybe I'm being naive and ignorant, in regards to thinking that this was not necessary. Because I believe, you know, exactly the same, it's everyone's prerogative, based on their own personal thoughts, beliefs, their doctor's visits, whatever. And I am not gonna step into that at all. So that's more where I was
I
coming from.
got that.
Man, I apologize for getting heated, it's just, I hate to see, you know, prison, for example, I know people out there have worked out there forever, and they just got the notice, they're canned in 2 weeks. It's just, you know, it's just,
And
it's
they're not-
unreal, it's
they're not
crazy to
the only
see.
ones.
Yeah, I mean, we have,
That-
it's.
I know that.
It's just, you know,
But I just
apologize.
didn't see
Yeah.
that happening here, to where the need was felt to put it in the actual personnel policy.
And I'll just add one more comment real quick. I think that this is kind of jumping the gun. It's saying we're not gonna do it when you decide to put this on. I think that we can wait. If it ever is enacted, we can make the stance, but for us to say in advance of any directive by the governor or by anybody, that we, no matter what you tell us, are not going to do it. I think it's a kind of in-your-face type statement. And I'm a moderate guy. I mean, I listen to all this and I'm okay. But to enact this today before anything else is put out there by anybody, is just telling us that no matter what you tell us, we're not gonna do it. So, that being said, that's all I've got to add. We've heard from every commissioner. If anyone else wants to add something else, go ahead, Shane.
Good. We don't have anything yet, but productive government is the same as productive management. And it is proactive and not reactive. And if we wait and become reactive, we've already let it violate someone's rights. So I believe in a proactive stance.
Okay.
There's also an additional potential benefit is if we do this in advance, then we're not reacting in defiance to any specific directive, but we are, that this is our policy, and then the directive subsequent may violate our policy. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a small distinction, but it can be an important one if it comes to liability.
I think we've had a pretty good round table here, and everybody said their mind, so Travis was gonna make a motion, so I'll allow him, if that's what he wants to do.
I'll move to approve item 1A.
Second.
A motion by Travis and a second by Ian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. So Shane, Lori, Travis, and Ian, yes. Richard, no. Okay, so we'll move on to item B. Item B is discussion for possible action, the approval of resolution 2021-82 in response to the Biden administration's executive actions regarding COVID-19 mandates.
Yeah, so kind of along the same lines as the first one, but just, something for the public. I mean, we've took this again and again, but I mean, I still get calls that people think we're not doing anything. But anyway, it just kind of clarifies this, the stances in there, and it shows the board's positions, pretty similar along same lines as the other ones we've done on the other COVID issues.
So just before we take it, what is a breakdown of resolution 2021-82?
It's in the.
Yeah, it's in the backup. I did not do this one.
Pardon?
I did not do this one, but I can take the read.
Yeah.
It's very comprehensive.
I was gonna say, I just assumed if you wanna bring this back so that the DA has time to look at this.
No, I had time to look. No, I didn't author it.
Okay.
I didn't, right.
I took that real literal, that you, I know it wasn't on there, but I felt like maybe you hadn't looked at it.
No, I did look at it.
Okay.
Just clarify it for me in a public meeting, please.
It's pretty short.
It's just, basically, saying that, well, let me hear. I'll just read it. Whereas President Joe Biden on September 9th, 2021, declared by executive action that,
Making my gloves are flat up.
that was not a legal opinion.
Was that 1B or 2?
Declared by executive action that all employers with over 100 employees shall be requiring all employees to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or implement a regular testing program. Various government agencies are included as well under this action. Whereas White Pine County is a constitutional county and will not stand for or endorse any of these unconstitutional measures taken by the Biden administration. Whereas White Pine County has updated county personnel policy to protect county employees from this action and ensure their rights are protected, whereas White Pine County will not comply with any of these actions, whereas White Pine County will refuse to pay any OSHA fines levied against the county as a result of noncompliance from these actions, whereas White Pine County will not keep a record of vaccination status or testing status of county employees, whereas White Pine County will not enforce any of these mandates upon private businesses or citizens within the county as previously stated in past resolutions. Now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners, White Pine County, State of Nevada hereby resolves that White Pine County shall investigate and take any viable legal actions to ensure the rights of county employees, private businesses, and citizens are upheld as granted under the Constitution of the United States of America. Approved this day, 22nd day of September, 2021. Richard Howe, Chairman, attest County Clerk.
Okay, that just explains, I'm glad we read that either for people on the phone or in the audience. Thank you for that. So it's pretty much the same thing.
Provided, though, so
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
people could read that.
Well, that's okay. So it's kind of like what we just voted for. And so this is just saying that we're not going to adhere to the Biden administration's thing.